Today I'm working on the Gooseneck hitch. I've been working on this layout where I want it and all this, and again, we keep talking about lower, lower, lower. I got to get everything as low as I can because this truck sits so high. So I've got this cut out here to where I can have my gooseneck plate. Better turn that, get that wind out of the camera. I need my gooseneck plate down here and still leave enough room for 3/4 inch LEDs here, here, and here. And I had to find a way to make this structurally sound, so once I cut the center section out and I cut all these cross members out, I don't lose all structural integrity and the bed start flopping like this. And I think what I've decided is my C-channel for the bed ends right here. So what we're going to do is run it out to here, and then we're going to plate it on the back side, and we're going to bring it down to what's going to be my gooseneck plate down here, so that I can tie this to that gooseneck plate. It'll pull down on this and up on the gooseneck when there's a load. There'll be more about that later, but here's the gist of it. I cut it on an angle. I was going to cut it out real wide and square. I wanted to cut this out because I'm not going to use this stuff. So this layout worked out the best. And I'm going to have the gooseneck ball about 1 inch ahead of the center of the axle. I need to figure out this bulkhead. I've decided it's coming off completely. It's not wide enough. I want it wider. I want it to meet the width of the bed, and I don't want it taller than the cab, and I don't like where it breaks off. I want it to come up about the bottom of that window and then taper in to where the corner of the cab is. I guess theoretically I could reuse what's here, but I think it's going to be more work to make that stuff work than it will be to just redo it. We'll just hang on to that for something else possibly. It's on here pretty decent. It's welded in here. It's welded right here. It's stitch weld here and here. I mean, this was to stop it from doing this, but it could have been done better here just by coming down the side of that channel and welding the side. That'd been stronger. Look at that weld's cracked right there. See that? Right there, that weld's cracked. So this was probably an afterthought. Well, it doesn't look like it though, because that was put in here like this. So maybe it was an afterthought. Regardless, it doesn't work for us. Alright, so this is basically what I had in mind for the bulkhead. This is the deck. It's 8 foot wide. So here's the top of the deck. We're going to use as much of that existing material as we can. Of course, I got to cut it all apart, which is okay because a large majority of this is going to be covered anyways. All right, so we're going to stay in the 8 foot wide. That way, a sheet of diamond plate steel will be wide enough. We'll just cut off just a little bit so we can come in just slightly from this edge so that we can weld flat here instead of welding on two edges. So we're going to come up 30 inches. The bottom of my window is 31, so I want to come just slightly below that window. I mean, just barely. So we're going to come up. This is going to be a 22-degree angle right here. And then we're going to run one end. This is going to be 2x2 box, or 2.5 by 2.5, which is what that already is. This will be 2.5 by 2.5 all the way across here and back down. This will be whatever I have left. Okay. Now behind this, there'll be 2 runners that come here that tie into the main channel. I think that's a good place to start. So the next thing is I need to get the bed off the truck.
So he's gonna lift the bed off, and so I think so he can cut out the gooseneck part that he's gonna cut out. It looks like everything's unhooked. Go ahead. I think he's gonna take the bulkhead off too because he doesn't like it. He wants to put a different one on. just moving it over to the side, and then he wants to move the truck out of the way and put the bed back over here where the truck's at so he can work on it. I think that's his plan anyway. Say hi.
Huh?
Say hi.
Hi. Say hi, lady.
Hi, lady. Never fails. When you go to back out, there's always traffic. There could be none for a long time, and then everybody has to go by when you're trying to back out. It's aggravating. Okay.
Put them up in the shade, you know?
Yeah.
A little bit.
You mean the U-bolts? What are you talking about? Oh, okay.
Now that the bed is off the truck, you can see here, there's another crack right there. There was just too much up ahead of this and not enough support down here. I mean, I give them an A for effort, you know, like they tried, but it's just not going to work for us. Okay, so it came off pretty easy. You know, it left some schmegmar over here I'll have to get off, but I think that was the easiest way rather than gouging into the metal I was saving. This is already, you know, I had a couple cracks in it, and I just figured it'd be easier just cut it that way and then start to disassemble. What else was I gonna show you? Yeah, you can see this one was cracked over here pretty good. Part of me wants to just throw that off to the side and just build new, because I think I'd build it out of something a little bit heavier than this too. I don't know. But it's off. So now what I'm going to do while I'm deciding what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to lift this off, set it over. Well, I'm going to clean all this up first, get all this old crap off, and get all this cleaned up the way I want it. You know, get this stuff out of here, like this. Get all this out, because when we do it, we're coming on the side of this. We're coming up this side. So I want to be able to weld here. I want to be able to weld here real good. So I suppose this doesn't have to be super clean, because we're just going to weld right in here. But anyways, we can do better. We can get it as clean as we can. So my poor compressor's just working its butt off again, because this plasma cutter uses a lot of air. But everything's coming apart fairly decent. I just want to get this cleaned up so I can flip it over and work on the gooseneck. Well, I was working on getting these off, cleaning this up, and although once the compressor started making this really higher pitched noise, like man, it's really pumping good. Yeah, the only problem is it's pumping air out the intake, not into compress. So I am without compressor. We're dead in the water now. I'm gonna have to go buy a compressor. Alright, so we're flipped over. Now you can kind of see what more I was talking about bringing these out past. We're gonna cut these on an angle to match this, I think. We're gonna try. I might just take a die grinder And it looks like they're just welded on one side. One little weld here. And a little weld here, a little weld there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take the angle grinder and cut them out. That way that whole piece can fall out. So I'll do that now. So there's the piece we cut out. We just had a few small welds, nothing big, holding it together. So now I need to transfer this angle and this angle onto these cross members, because I really want to cut this on an angle so I have something to weld the plate to when I bring it across here. Because we're going to take that plate that we just cut out and lay it back in here to finish this out. So I want this to be on an angle so we can just weld right to the bottom of it. So here's what I was talking about. We're going to take these pieces of channel, and don't forget this is upside down. So now this will come down and hit the gooseneck plate. So we'll cut these off at the right angle and weld them to the gooseneck plate. So that'll stiffen it up, because that gooseneck plate is going to span 32 inches is what it is in this opening. So by doing this, we're going to be bringing this in quite a bit. Let's see if you can see what that's going to be. I don't know what the well's actually going to be. I had measured it. I just don't remember right now, but you can see how much it's going to narrow that up and strengthen it. It is what it is. So this is where I'm stopping for now. It's all cut out. So tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and order my 1/2-inch plate, and this will make the sides. I could probably use this in the well, and I don't know, I could put lights in here. I could use them for hooking up, I guess, at night or something. I'm going to order up my plate. I'm getting 1/2-inch plate, and we're going to, with the gussets we're putting in, I think 1/2-inch plate's going to be more than adequate. Alright, that's it for now. We'll bring you back once we got some steel.